Welcome to the HVAC ADHD Vodcast, the only show where duct design meets dopamine and where energy efficiency and executive dysfunction battle it out for airtime. The HVAC Vodcast isn't just about better systems, it's about better people, better thinking, and a little grace for those of us who zig when the spec sheet says zag. Hey everybody, welcome back to the HVAC ADHD Vodcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Begley, and today we're diving into something new. The rise of artificial intelligence in the trades. On the pod this week, Winston Chi, founder of NOSO Labs. Winston flew all the way to Knoxville from California to join me in the studio for this week's episode. Winston's no stranger to startups. He's built companies in crypto and AI, gone through Y Combinator, and now he's bringing that experience straight into HVAC. We're going to unpack how NOSO Labs is giving technicians a digital co-pilot, preparing them with job briefs before they even leave the truck, recording and analyzing service calls, generating proposals, and even giving instant access to a 20 terabyte library of manuals. This is about more than gadgets. It's about transforming how techs train, sell, and serve customers in the field. Before we get into this episode, I wanted to give a special shout out to our sponsors, NOSO Labs and Santa Fe Dehumidifiers. Let's jump in with Winston Chi of NOSO Labs. Welcome back, everybody, to the HVAC ADHD Vodcast. I'm here with Winston Chi, founder of NOSO Labs. And Winston is new to the HVAC space, but not new to technology. He's here to talk about his new product that he is bringing to the HVAC space and his journey in doing that. So without further ado, Winston, thank you for flying out from San Diego and joining us live in the studio here today. You are our first live studio guest, so we greatly appreciate that. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got here to the HVAC space and how you got here sitting in front of an HVAC guy talking HVAC.
So first of all, thanks for having me here. For me, I've been in the tech space for the last, I would say, 12 years. And for the first couple of years, I was a pure engineer. And then afterwards, I've been building startup for the last 8 years. I built a crypto company in 2017 that was $2 billion outcome in 2019. And afterwards, I built another AI company to help full wholesalers to process POs using AI. The company was acquired last year, and it was funded by Google and Jack Allman. Now, I've been exploring this AI in HVAC space for the last couple of months. Right now, we're in Y Combinator.
So 2 things. Tell us what led you to the HVAC space. Like, how did you jump from the last thing that you did to the HVAC space? And let people know what Y Combinator is. I don't think many people in this space probably understand what that is.
Yeah, first of all, I would love to explain a little bit on Y Combinator. It's the best startup accelerator in the world. A lot of household names you've heard about: Airbnb, DoorDash, Dropbox, Stripe. They're all coming out of Y Combinator. They fund startup in the very early stage. We just happened to be there for this batch in the summer. The batch is going to be finished in September. In terms of why I'm coming to this space, I think the idea is coming from the days when I was exploring my previous company to help full wholesalers in using AI. And one special insight I feel that's a huge difference between the traditional trade space and also the tech space is, in the tech space, you separate out sales, you separate out customer support, you separate out technical work, right? In the tech space, you have a coder that are technical people. You have salespeople that do not know tech at all, are just purely doing sales. You have customer support people just manage the accounts. But in the trade space, you always see the role sometimes always condensed into one. Like when you send a technician into a home, is it tech support? Is it a sales role? Is it say customer support? You don't know. It's actually all three. So the pressure to do that job well is actually much higher than the pure tech work. And I was bringing that special insights. I was trying to apply that in the trade, see where can I apply AI in the space better. And after a few months conversation, I feel in the HVAC space, people really love the idea. And people genuinely love interacting with me, and that's why I'm also here interacting with you.
Absolutely.
So that drew me into the HVAC.
Very good. So tell us a little bit about the product that you're trying to bring into the HVAC space. how you think about it working, what you may do to improve it in the future, and just generally give us a good description of what it is that you've built.
Yeah, I think the long-term goal for NOSO Labs is to say, how do we make a technician to handle all three jobs really well? Because if you look at the trades, there are going to be some technician really good at, say, technical diagnostic. There are going to be some people really good at sales. Some people can manage the paperwork really, really well. But how do you find someone who can handle all three jobs really well is a really rare asset in the industry. So that's what we ultimately want to do. In terms of specifically, how do we do that right now? We want to provide, using AI to provide insight to help people to say, how do they prep the job when they go to the site? How do we log everything when they're actually on site with the customer conversation? And we do analytics based on the jobs and provide summary, proposal, all that to handle all three things. So it ties back to what I just said. Using AI to help with the diagnostics, using AI to help the sales conversation through meeting brief and meeting debrief, right? How do we help with the paperwork after they finish the job? Those are three things we're handling right now.
So walk me through a typical process. Let's say what goes on in the office, if anything, from the admin and customer service representative standpoint to get the job set up for the technician. How does that play into your app? Then as the technician gets in his car and drives to a place, what is the app, if anything, doing then? And then on site, what's it doing? And then what's the end product that it's producing?
If you're thinking through the whole technician job, the workflow comes from a customer outbound a call to a home service company to the time that the technician finishes the job and collect all the payments and hand over to the customer support. Our workflow comes in the moment before the technician hit the truck and closes the moment the technician left the truck. That's what our technology is going to be focusing on. Before they hit the truck, the technician will need to load what parts they need to prepare for the day, right? And then they drive to the home, and then they would do the diagnostic or the sales conversation, and then they do the install or fixes, and they probably give customer some paper to sign, and afterwards the job is done. So our technology would try to analyze the history of the job. Say if you go to the house, they may already deal with them for the last 10 years. So how do we analyze all the sales opportunity that the technicians should cover is what we're going to focus. And then we also give the technician the parts they need to prepare. And when they're driving, we'll give a job brief for the technician. So when they're driving, we make sure they can leverage the drive time to really know what's going on. So when they go to the house, they are prepared to know all the sales opportunity they can cover. Then when they hit the job, we record the whole conversation with the house owner and the technician so that when they drive the proposal, AI can help them to make sure they cover everything. When they finish the job, we write the summary for them, give it to the customer. That's all the things we're covering.
So for the beginning piece of it, the job summary, so as the technician gets in the truck, the AI app plays the job summary for him. It describes what the job is, what parts he would need, what he's going to be doing at the home, what his objectives are, those type of things. Is it a platform that exists in the service space, in the office, that information is somehow fed into in the beginning? Would they be uploading? Is there some sort of manual data entry in the beginning? Like say you're onboarding, let's just talk onboarding for a minute. Say you're onboarding a company. What's the lift for them to get your software, your AI software up and operational in a real manner, not like just they're playing around with it, like they're actually able to use it per each customer and things like that. What's that front end lift look like for them?
We integrate with the HouseCall Pro and ServiceTitan. So in HouseCall Pro, all they need is to provide us a key that they can generate through HouseCall Pro. And with that key, we can populate all the jobs so the technician can read it. In ServiceTitan, it's even simpler. Just give us a tenant ID. We put in our app, and then when the home service company can go to the ServiceTitan, go to the integration, click API access, enable the app, then our app comes in. So the integration part would take them probably 30 seconds.
Perfect. So that's what I was trying to get to. So they're already going to have, this is going to integrate with some other platform, CRM type platform that they're using that already has this type of information in it. You mentioned HouseCall Pro and ServiceTitan. Are you
Yeah.
guys looking at any of the other ones like OnCall? I know Carrier specifically uses something called OnCall that's real similar to that stuff. And then a couple of the other smaller CRMs. Or are you planning on just sticking with those two giants for a little bit as you get the product going?
I think great question, right? Long term, ideally, you integrate with everybody. We
Yep.
have to eval how much resources we can deploy that into. It all depends on how much revenue you can generate throughout. If
Sure.
someone pay me $1 million to integrate with, like, say, Jobber,
Yep.
why not? But if people are doing, say, give me $2K and ask me to integrate with Jobber, probably not worth our lift.
So is HouseCall and ServiceTitan purchasing the product, licensing the product from you for the plugin, or are they relying on their users to subscribe first and then you get paid off that? What is the revenue model there for you?
Oh, okay. They just subscribe through us.
Yeah.
Integrate with the platform is relatively easy, so they don't need to pay through ServiceTitan.
Okay, so they
Yeah.
pay you guys, and then it's
Yeah.
a subscription base. Is that how
Yeah.
it's going to work?
Yeah.
A subscription
Yeah.
base. Okay, and then they take your product and they plug it in, and then boom, everything it knows all the CRM and stuff like that. So then, what's the implementation of your product with service? Let's just talk ServiceTitan for
Yeah.
a minute. Like, what's that look like? They send out a ticket. Their customers send out a ticket. How does your software attach to that? What's it do? It picks it up and reads it through the app on a phone, or how would they?
They don't need to send out the ticket. You just need to go any ServiceTitan user. They
Yep.
can go to the ServiceTitan, look at the integration. There's a gear on the right top.
Yep.
Click on it, and there's the integration part. Give us tenant ID,
Yep.
and then we put the tenant ID into our own ServiceTitan
Got it.
app, and then that will enable that on the platform.
And then when the service tech is getting the update, what's that flowing through the app? Like they have the app open in the truck. Is that how that works?
Yeah,
Okay.
we have a separate mobile app, both on Android and iOS. When they're in the truck, they just open the app and look at it. We try not to overlap with any of the ServiceTitan workflow, because when you look at people are using ServiceTitan, they mostly use it for, say, write the summary. They mostly use it to let customers sign with the tablet. For us, we focus a lot on the AI analytics. How do we gather the information that already exists somewhere, crystallize it so that people can analyze, can just read it in a few seconds, or even say when they're using their driving that time to listen to the analytics we provide. So it would be much, much easier for people to digest. Versus if you go through ServiceTitan, technically they have everything. But if you look at the log, it has a long log of the last 10 jobs, and there will be a lot of photos. You don't want to go through every photo for
Right.
the last 10 jobs. And
Yep.
for us, we just give exactly what you need to know today. That's what we're going to be focusing on.
They got their summary from you. They go to the house. They walk through the home. They do their service item, and then you said it could possibly suggest other sales ticket items. How does that work? What's that interaction like there?
So let me give you an example, right?
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
house owner could call you, hey, Jeremy, my cooling is not working today.
Yep.
And in the most often case, technician going to come in and just check the cooling. But what could happen is in the last 10 years, you've been in their house for 20 times, or maybe not 20 times is a little bit too much. Let's say 5 times. But you roughly know the duct is too old, 15 years old. You roughly know they have some compressor issue. They have some, say, mold as well. Through all the previous cases, a lot of them probably are not solved. So when you're in the truck, we tell you, hey, Jeremy, today you're going to this house. The house size is, say, 2,000 square footage, right? They have a ductwork 15 years old, maybe due for either replacement or cleaning. They have mold issue for the last 5 years. I don't see that resolved. Maybe worth checking as well. And then you possibly can also check the unit outside. They have leakage the last 2 years. Then when you go in, you tell the house owner, okay, I'm going to check the cooling today. I've reviewed your house history a little bit. There are a few other things. Would you mind me checking other things as well for you? When you get the confirmation from the owner that you're able to check all the things, when you give them the summary, you have the opportunity to sell them all other items. Versus nowadays, because you're running 5 jobs a day or 3 jobs a day, your mind is really difficult to process all of that. But we can tell you 10 minutes before you go to the job, just everything, so that you go in there and sell the job. That's much easier to sell versus just go there, check one thing.
Does it take into consideration things the homeowner might say to you too? Like if they're like, hey, there's this other issue you guys never knew about, but I got this problem. Would that get headed into the report as, hey, maybe you should sell them a solution to that opportunity, or would it have to be something that was already on file from the previous visits there?
So there are two parts of it, right? One part is the brief before the job, right? That's something we can definitely find from all the previous history. But when the owners say something, we can also record and log everything. Remember, the second part is the log everything.
Yep.
When they log everything, we do the AI analytics to also prepare the proposal when they finish the job. So that when you write a proposal, there are going to be moments we see that the technician usually will go to the truck a little bit, prepare the notes. So that's where that comes in when the proposal, because that could be a 30 minutes conversation. You won't remember everything,
Yep.
but the AI going to remember all of that. So we can put that into a proposal, combining what we found and the pre-history, combine it together, and then we can suggest all of that. So when you go to the house owner and present that, that's a much more comprehensive log.
And that report that you're presenting to the homeowner, is that right inside the native software you're using, or is it an additional, like you have to report from your app and say a ServiceTitan report if you're using both, or is it just you would be using a report from your app and you're like, the ServiceTitan thing ain't that cool anymore. We're going to use that is produced over here.
So one thing I've mentioned it, right? We don't want to mess up with what people are already used to.
Yep.
So what we do is we have a very easy way for people to export the summary. They can either copy paste in ServiceTitan or just share that so that it's sent. Because I see a lot of people are both using mobile and tablet.
Yeah.
Like, because if you go to the attic, you're not going to bring the tablet into the attic. So use mobile will be pretty easy. So we have a way for people to export that into other devices, so they can still do that in the ServiceTitan or Housecall Pro. And we also, for other logs, we also export that into ServiceTitan or Housecall Pro, so people have an easier time to use it.
So the log from the visit is exported in those apps so that they have it on file for their next visit or whatever. Yeah. And then they're able to present a report at the end of the thing that says exact things that your AI tabulated.
Yeah, exactly.
One good use I see of this, like sometimes you get in a house and you're like, you get into these situations with homeowners in particular where you tell them, well, here's the thing you should do. And they're like, no, we don't want to do that. And you're like, well, it's really a thing you should do. And they're like, we're not doing that. And then you're like, a lot of times you want them to be able to sign off on that. So it would be really cool if the AI picked that up and just created a little, like, here's the sign off for your homeowner to sign saying that they acknowledge.
You need to waive that.
They acknowledge that you told them that they should have did it, but they shouldn't do it. There's some very cool uses there. So how much use case data do you have so far? Have you guys tried it out in any markets? What stage are you in with the development of it?
We deploy with 2 customers already. We're still very new. Our company is brand new for like technically 3 months old. We've developing this for 2.5 months. We just deployed that like a few weeks ago in San Diego and Denver. So far works well, and it stick through pretty well. And we're still iterating a lot of other little things to make sure it's working great.
So where do you see the expansion going? Do you have any ideas for other use cases outside of just a pure ServiceTitan House Pro plugin that we talked about? Are you thinking about other areas of HVAC, or how's that looking?
I can see that work well for both HVAC and plumbing. In plumbing, it's very natural because when you look at any home service company, most common you're gonna see heating, air, and plumbing, and electrician.
Yep.
And in plumbing world, you see water heater, which is a very common thing that a lot of HVAC company also provide service for. So it will work pretty well. Because another piece I probably didn't mention it is that we also collected 15 million manuals of all the
we talked about that. I forgot about that piece. That's big. Let's talk about that.
We have over 20 terabytes of all the manuals in the world. That fed into the large language model we've fine-tuned so that when you snap a photo of any equipment, it tells you everything of any equipment you can find, including the water heater and HVAC equipment. Because air coil is a very common thing, difficult to find. When you snap photo, we just figure it out for you. You don't even need to read through the manual because that's a big thing for a lot of junior technicians.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. There's a couple other apps out there that are doing similar things, but I think that you felt like your library was a lot more extensive than some of those other apps that have collected it. So let's talk about the use case for that. How is it currently set up right now to be used? Like, what is the actual prescribed use case for all those manuals? Like, if a service tech was like having an issue, you said an error code, you could flash it like that. Would they be able to use it during install? Would they be able to? Is there a pathway where you can be like, hey, I'm having this problem on install, and it's like finds them the answer for it right away?
Yeah, our main interface is through voice and camera.
Yep.
So whenever technicians on the side fixing something and talk to it, it will capture everything, and I would be able to find out the manual for people to read it.
So would they be able to use it during, and this is probably a yes, but I just want to verbalize all this. Would they be able to use it during commissioning? Like, say they needed to know, so inside the manuals, a lot of times there's fan charts that actually say so how they're set up is at the top, they'll have some static pressure readings. Yeah. Down the side, it'll have some CFM readings, and or actually through the chart, it'll have CFM readings, and down the side, it'll have dip switch settings. So, would they be able to say, I have a static pressure of 0.25, I need an airflow of 360, tell me the best dip switch setting? If that information was in that document in like a grid format, would the AI be able to make that match and give them that information?
That should be pretty straightforward. I mean, I haven't tested it thoroughly, but based on my understanding of what we built, I think you should be able to do that.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, that is a super helpful tool. I think a little niche, nuanced use of something like that, because one of the big challenges that we have in HVAC right now on the installation side is what we call commissioning. So one of it is one part of it is just getting techs to understand that they need to do a true commissioning. They just can't set the box and then walk away. But the second part of it is once the tech has realized that that's a thing they need to do, then they need to know where to go get the information and what the settings should be. So, like in a new construction situation, a tech may have a design, and they're going to have design static and design airflow that they need to set that thing up to. And then in different situations, like in existing homes, they might use a thing called a true flow grid where they actually measure the airflow and they figure out what the airflow is and the static there, and they want to know, what they're going to do a backwards calculation. Hey, I got the airflow. Can you tell me what what this is set on if they can't figure it out or something like that? So I see quite a bit of use case for having those manuals in there. It's just a huge thing. It's one of the more exciting features for me of what it's doing. Yeah.
So the reason we focus a lot on the sales is after a lot of ride-alongs. I've been doing ride-along.
You have been?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nonstop. I can show the photo that I'm in the attic.
Yep.
A few minutes later, and funny enough, the service manager told us you were lucky because the place you were standing you were supposed to fall from the attic.
Oh, I've had guys. I know exactly what he's talking about. I've seen a bug guy one time. He's a young kid. He had just started working at like the homeowners. I was there for HVAC stuff and home performance. This guy just happens to be coming at the same time, and he tells the kid like, "You cool walking?" Oh yeah, I know what I'm doing. He walks 2 feet and straight through and down onto the guy's son. He fell on the guy's son that was sleeping in bed. So yeah, it can happen. You are lucky. That guy's correct.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to do is really understand everything because whatever we're building, people need to carry it with them, right? We need to make sure that it works in the attic, it works outside of the yard with dog barking on the side, it works on the rooftop. We need to test all the scenario to make sure it actually works. Because a lot of the technology is not even whether technology can really handle that, is whether you built it correctly to fit into the situation that people are handling with.
Right.
So like, for example, in the very beginning, we were focusing a lot on the tablet, but we figured out probably 20-30% of the time people need to climb the ladder to the attic. How do you bring a $2,000 tablet to the attic.
And don't lose it in the attic.
Yeah, don't lose it. And that's like the big nightmare. I was asking, why don't you use it? Oh, I don't want to bring that over. I was like, okay, then we need to focus on the mobile, so people can just take photo using the mobile and everything. So we adjusted a lot based on the actual scenario and through the ride along. And not just me, my co-founder, our employee, I require everybody to do ride along to the technicians really understand what's going on, because we're a few people that grown up just programming. We don't really know the actual thing that with all the wrenches, how to do things on the field. So we have to have that mentality to go.
This week's episode is brought to you by NOSO. Ready to 10x your technicians? Field service teams are missing out on revenue. NOSO's AI ensures you capture every opportunity and finish every job with zero paperwork. From diagnosing tricky issues on site to automatically writing up job reports, their AI assistant, NOSO, supports your technicians at every step. To learn more about NOSO, click the link in our show notes or head to their website at noso.so. What's one thing that you discovered about the HVAC industry that you were like, wow, this is crazy. I never knew that, after doing all the ride-alongs? There had to be something in your mind that was like, this is wild.
I would say the part I actually like a lot is that you're going to see a lot of interesting homes.
That is true. You do.
Like, you've never been to that many homes in your life without if you're not doing home services. That part is pretty interesting. I've seen huge lizard in the home. That is super fun. I see a lot of pets. I've been to the home with like 5 dogs and 5 cats.
Yeah.
And that's crazy for me to see that. And the worst part, not the worst, but another crazy part of it, they have 5 kids in the home. and the dogs barking, cats are like trying to come over and all that. It's a lot of fun to go that. The surprising part, I would say, is still in the attic part, that when you go in the attic, sometimes you go into somewhere that the attic didn't open for 20 years.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And that's super dusty.
Yep.
And the moment I touch the ventilation, I just feel I can break the pipe easily. Oh. That part I'm so scared of.
Yep.
That's really a big surprise, because in a normal home, you would never think of you need to go to the attic for fixing things. But it turned out a lot of HVAC actually in the attic.
Yeah. Especially in southern
through
US.
The closet.
Yeah. Yep, through the closet. That's that's another one. So that's a knee wall attics like that, or the little hatch that you go through the closet and there's this little tiny hatch like right up in the closet. You got to jam a ladder up there to get up in it. Yeah, those are fun.
Yeah.
Interesting. So the HVAC space also includes home performance. We talked a little bit about this. So I see a big use case where as the HVAC industry leans into permanent load reduction and HVAC and home performance more and more, that's a lot to keep up with. So I can see if a guy was going through a home and was doing a more advanced inspection, trying to discover what is going on in a home from a building performance standpoint, your tool, the record all version of it, might be valuable if the guy is talking the whole time and sort of dictating what he's seeing. And it's also, so does video part of or is it just still pictures
voice.
right
just
now?
Voice.
Oh, just voice.
Yeah, we don't, because privacy is a big piece.
Yes.
Videotaping is a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And
even in an attic or something like that.
Yeah, the photo part we can definitely capture.
Yep.
Like if you would take a photo of the pipe, you just know the age and everything. And pipe has size, so you need to properly draw the size and layout of the ventilation in the attic. That part we can capture. Even for the voice, I think you have to. Different states have different regulations.
Yep.
Some union even prohibit it from anyone from videotaping anything or voice taping anything. So that part we want to deal with that very carefully. And also we realize in Canada there are also some rules about recording all of that. Yeah.
Oh, so they have different rules than we have.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. So what is the solution if it's not? Does it just become a part solution? It's from the truck and the summary, or what is the solution for people that can't voice record?
So for that part, we see a fine line between infringe privacy versus just record for the job. You can tell people this is the part I'm recording for the quality purpose, right? Because when you're communicating with the owner, you can just ask them a few things, and usually people will be okay with that.
Yep.
And then for the last piece, when you try to provide summary, here's what I've done today. You talk to the owner. This piece, you can record that. The upside of that is that it's really short for the recording part, but it also capture almost everything you need. So you just need to have the beginning part and the last piece of it, so we can still collect everything to help them with the proposal.
So the real sauce from the recording piece is in the summary. So if you're verbalizing everything that you found in the house to the homeowner, then it's going to be sure to be recorded into the summary, where that will then be included in the proposal piece that it prints out.
Yeah, and also remember, before they go to the job, we also have a summary, a brief, so we can combine those two together. You will have a much stronger proposal.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are your next steps here? Like where are you guys at in the stream of things? What's your next 5 moves for your product?
Right now, the goal is to work with as many trainers in the space as possible, try to deploy to more businesses. We just want to get to more HVAC businesses as of now, and also plumbing, because it's a business together. Sure. That's the first move. And then I would say the second move, it's really just 2-step, right? First step, get more customers, get a lot of feedback. The second move is how do we iterate our product to a more advanced model? Yep. I don't know, did you ever watch the movie called Blade Runner?
Oh, yeah.
2049?
Yeah.
Remember?
Yep.
They have a companion on the side telling everything.
Yeah.
That's something we want to build in the longer term. So how do we make sure it will be a true companion and assistant 24 hours versus just deal with 3 things, right? Like, because as a technician, you have big chunk of your day is driving. You're probably gonna have 4 hours driving day every day. So how do we make sure the assistant can on the side do all the work? Because even though you can do a lot of work through ServiceTitan, if you can ask your assistant, hey, Jeremy, or you can call it NOSO Labs, can you do this? Write an email to my manager Jason about this. Can you also send the text message to the previous house owner? Can you text the next job homeowner that I'm coming in 5 minutes? All of that, so you don't need to even touch the phone, that the assistant can do all of those jobs. Those are the second move we try to achieve in the next, say, a year.
That is pretty awesome. So that adds a lot of value to what the tool can do. And do you think that it would be interfaced with Android Auto or Apple, anything like that, the app, so that you could do that all hands-free right through your speaker system?
Yeah. That's all we were trying to do. We work both on the Android and iOS. And what I really think the biggest part about AI right now is how do we enable voice to help you more? Yeah. Because I'm in my home, I have all the light bulbs and also my iRobot connect to Alexa already. Sure. Like I just tell them, hey, Alexa, start cleaning up the room. I like Alexa, open the lights and close the lights and all of that. So I think that's a future way to go for the future to go. But of course, Alexa is not a true AI.
No, it's not. We all thought it would be when it first started out. I actually have all my stuff automated like that too. And I had like the Philips lights that talk to that, so you could change the spectrum on the light and all kinds of stuff. So it's a fun little toy, but it's not true AI that can be an assistant the way that we all thought it was going to be. I think that if you can break into that voice command, because I use ChatGPT like that, like right now, like they have the voice command on there, and it's very conversational. You know, it's like, hey, Jeremy, how can we help you? Well, maybe we can. You know, it's not like I did this thing, blah blah blah. You know, it's more like you're talking to a person. So I can see how having a specific tool that is actually calibrated to what you're doing and has all the information from your clients. If it had all that, and it could really just be like, know what your next appointment is and say, hey, I'll text message your next appointment, no problem, you know, and we'll get that taken care of from you. That actually starts eliminating the need for some CSRs back in the office. You know, you can start thinking about running a leaner company with that type of technology, because then you don't really need to have a full support staff. The AI sort of becomes the support staff for them.
Yeah, I think the future of all the technology is really have a brain sitting in the truck just work for you. Yeah. You know, in 24 hours. And I was thinking like for the last few days, I was reading a book called The Last Days of Nights. So what it talks about is the days when New York was trying to roll out all the light bulbs. That's why the name is Last Days of Nights.
Yeah.
So people have a lot of concerns, and right now, even nowadays, people have a lot of concerns about AI, right? Like, it's not safe, it's X, Y, Z. But if you think about it, 100 years ago, when we brought out the light bulbs, people were saying coal is more stable than the electricity light bulbs.
Sure.
Same thing. And also electricity can kill people. It's much more dangerous than coal, coal's lights in the home. It's almost the same thing. People are talking about AI taking your jobs and everything, but people are just get much better life with technology advance. We just forgot in the older days when we adopt new technologies, we were in the waves, but we're in the moment right now.
Uber was the same way. I mean, everybody said it was going to kill the cab businesses. Now all the cab businesses just have apps that work way better than what the cab businesses actually worked in the first place. They just had to sort of fall in line and upgrade their technology to be able to compete in that market. It just created a different level of competitiveness than they actually had before. So I think any product like what you're talking, people are always scared of what they don't know. Like the unknown. Change is literally, like, from a scientific standpoint, change is the most adverse thing humans can do. Like, they do not like change as a thing. So, like, they're going to find every reason to be weary of something that's new. And also there is some concern too. I mean, there's real concern about privacy, and there's real concern about where AI may go in the future. But I think that if we're responsible with the way we adopt it, that it's already a super useful tool. I mean, I've used ChatGPT. It's like having a full-blown assistant for everything. So if we can get some very specific, assistant type bots built, for lack of a better word, or, software, I think that goes a long way in putting people at ease with the technology.
Yeah.
Once they start seeing specific use cases for it.
Yeah. So one question I have for you is, how do you see? I can see this technology going to be beneficial. To a lot of younger folks, especially people just coming out of trade school. But how do you see there are things we need to do to make sure that it can also work for experienced technicians?
I think training how the AI works, how it should be used. I think it's gonna be more intuitive for the younger guys, right? They're already using the technology 1,000 different ways. Especially people that are still in school right now. By the time they get out of school, AI is going to be the way they're doing a bunch of different stuff. So for them, I think it's going to be second nature, and you're not going to have to worry too much about that side of it. But like with the guys that are there, I mean, for one thing, it's a well-known fact that the HVAC industry is a dinosaur industry. Like, they change very, very slowly. Like when I first...
Well, that's not true. HVAC compared to all other home services, they're the youngest industry, right? The plumbing's been there for a few thousand years.
Well, from a historical standpoint, sure. But I'm saying, okay, so let me just qualify what I'm saying. I'm saying these guys, a lot of the shops may seem very prehistoric to modern technology. So, for instance, when in 2009, 2010, probably was a little later than that, probably 2013, 14, I had sold my first business to an HVAC company, and I was working for them under a contract to help them get home performance up and going, which was the business that I sold them. And so we were like, we had built everything in the most modern mobile technology that there was at the time, PDFs that can be signed and different things like that. These guys still didn't even have all of their data into computers. They had off-site storage facilities for files of their customers that they would send couriers out to the different facilities to pull that file.
That's 2013.
2013. Yeah. The day that they were served, the day of the service, and bring it all the way back in that manila envelope with all the paperwork in there. They dig through it, and they'd like write a little ticket for the service tech, and then boom, his ticket's sitting there for when he goes out. And that's how they did it. They weren't sending jobs out on the computer. Now, while I was there, they did start adopting some technology, but for the longest time, owner was scared of it. He thought people were going to be able to steal, if he did anything technology, he thought people were going to be able to steal his clients off of the web somehow and go to them and say, hey, we found out that you do business with this guy, but here's a better reason to do business with us. It was a very unfounded fear. There was zero chance that any of that would ever happen. At the most, there may be some information stealing, the way that everybody gets their information stolen from time to time, but like, nobody was ever going to be able to target his customers like he thought. So like there's a lot of that type of thinking baked into all the trades, really. So it's, I'm taking a long way around to answer your question, but I think that getting guys used to AI and what it can and can't do, and what's the realistic side of the privacy issues, like how it could affect somebody and how it really wouldn't affect somebody, I think is super important to getting those guys to adopt the technology.
Yeah. But, I mean, for the last 10 years, I think you talk about 2013, but for the last 10 years, the biggest change in the industry is that there are so many PE involved in the space, and a lot of merger and acquisition happened.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Do you think that helped the mentality change a lot for the last 10 years?
I think that it's going to force a mentality change. Yeah, I think that a lot of those companies that are now private equity owned companies probably have a cohesive way of doing things that requires technology. So they're going to make those guys, switch to the way they're doing, which then as the younger guys come up, just becomes the way things are done. So I think in that world, sure, but like a lot of the there's still tons of non-rolled up mom and pops out there. I mean, there's less and less every year, because the one thing about the HVAC industry is the ownership's aging out, and so like a lot of the generational passing down is actually they're like, nah, we don't want it, I'm selling it, and they sell it to the private equity and they split the money and go on about their business. So, I think that does help some. Like what is going on, the corporate roll up. I think it does a lot of bad things too. It corporatizes the HVAC industry in general. So then there becomes the potential for the end user, which is the customer, to not get taken care of the same way that they might have with a family-owned organization.
Yeah, because one thing for me when I was thinking about the go-to-market is how do we find people who just care about the mattress way more? Because a lot of time, if they were like have everything still in the closet of all the papers, it's not going to work, right? So I've chatted with a lot of PE-backed HVAC businesses, and people are very straight up. When I'm talking to them, I feel I'm almost talking to tech people. They tell me, here's 3 mattresses we care about. Here's how we do business. Here's our ticket size. Here's our efficiency per technician, XYZ. Here's what we want to improve for the next 2 years. And for that, when I'm interacting with those businesses, it would be much, much easier for me to actually work with. And we can set specific metrics. If we hit it, here's what you want to do, right? Here's how much we're going to charge based on XYZ. If we don't hit it, okay, fine. What's the next step plan? It's much easier. But also the downside is it's much more transactional versus one thing I really like about the HVAC and home service space is people are very in the space. The business owner are very people caring versus many other industries. People want to take care of their employees. People want to get
absolutely.
So you get that part. Like that's one part I really love about the home service in general.
And that's a real, and that's one thing that people are scared of with the private equity too, is that whole side of the industry, the human side of it, let's call it, is going to go away, and it's going to turn into more of a corporate type structure, which I think you're saying your company would benefit from an uptake and financial standpoint, but at the same time, it feels a little less friendly than the people that you've done business with that really care about what they're doing.
So for your home improvements, are you focusing more on the PE-backed companies, or are you more focusing on smaller businesses?
For the home performance stuff, I guess I would say I don't really know, but I think that most of our business from a training standpoint comes from the smaller companies. I think that the bigger companies have their own training programs that they're doing, and they don't care about the home as much as the sell. You know what I mean? Like I think that those type of companies, like you said, I mean, to your very point, they're very analytical. They have it down to a dollar. Most homeowners are represented by some number, and that's how they look at things. And so in doing that, they don't care so much about, hey, maybe we didn't fix your problem as we made a sale, you know, and if we have to come back again to fix your problem with a different sale, then that's okay. We'll just go back out there again. I've literally, like, at the beginning of all this, I ended up, of the corporate roll-up stuff, ended up being in a class, one of my certification classes, with the president of one of the first big companies that was rolling up tons of different companies, and you know they were corporate. And he told me, he said, we don't try to get it right the first time we go out. We try to get it done the first time we go out. And he's like, we want those guys to go in there, make sure they meet code. We want the refrigerant hooked up. We want the electric hooked up. We want to make sure it turns on. He's like, then if it works, it works. If not, we have a conflict resolution department that if a customer calls in and they have a problem, we send somebody else back out there, totally different from the people that installed it. A lot of times they're subbing all this stuff out. So it's maybe even a different subbed company altogether to go out there under the guys, their shingle. You know, when you're working for them, you're wearing their shingle. Go out there under their shingle and address the problem. He's like, everything, like you said, is based on turn and burn, basically, based on how many we can get done in a day. And so, like, that's all we want our guys focused on, is set the box, because that's where all the money's at. Because guys don't make money on service. They you know what I mean? They're not. They make money on the sale of the equipment and owning the customer long term, so they get the sale of the equipment the next time that it gets sold. So that's really where the biggest money in HVAC is made, is on the percentage they take. You know, there's a multiplier where they take their equipment and they take their labor, and that's all one number, and then they mark that up by a certain percentage, which is usually a lot, around 80%, and then that's how the money's made. You're not marking any of the other stuff up. That's where, like, when I tried to help companies early on in my career, HVAC companies, get into home performance, one of the biggest barriers to entry was the fact that they found out that there's not a shiny box that they can mark up by $1,000, you know, or $1 million or whatever it is they mark it up by and make money off of it. It all has to be made off of labor. So when they find out that, they're like, I could have two guys in an attic and sealing an attic and putting insulation in, and I'm only making X. Or I could have those same two guys out with a shiny box installing it, and I'm making Y off that. And I'd much rather make Y than X. So if it's only about the money, then that stuff loses, you know. So,
but what do you think about the phenomenon right now? I've heard a lot of business owners telling me that during COVID time, everyone was at home, so a lot of units got replaced, right? Most of them, if possible, the last 5 years. So now it all of a sudden become a service-heavy industry that people are not really making enough money. Do you think that's? Do you agree on that?
I haven't seen that too much. I mean, I'll put it this way. That thing about COVID, that specific thing, I have not heard that. Like, that might be true, but I haven't had that conversation with anybody. I think that it's much more just driven by, the replacement world is much more driven by use and opportunity than anything else. Like we talked about earlier when we were having coffee, like HVAC is the single most reactive business in the world. So it's all just driven by the demand for comfort. So in the United States in particular, they care about comfort is king. That is a demand of owning a home, is you're comfortable in your space. Other parts of the world, it's not like that. Like you need to be comfortable to survive. You need to be comfortable to do business. But like the singular focus of their home is not, I demand to live at 70 degrees and, you know, when it's 95 outside, I still want to maintain that comfort in my home. You know, that type of thinking is not there worldwide as much as it is in the United States. So because of that, these guys get the calls where, like, in the middle of the summer, if a HVAC system's out, they pick up the phone, they call their guy. If he's like, hey, I probably can't get out there till Wednesday, they hang up on that guy and they call the next guy and say, hey, when can you get out here? And if, you know, and keep doing that until they get somebody. Like, it's the same way. Like, if your water heater goes out and you can't take a hot shower, people flip out about that. Like, I've been in parts of the world where they don't even heat the water. You know what I mean? So, like, it's just a whole different way of thinking about everything that we do that drives that demand, that reactive demand, where these guys go in the morning, the phones ring, they answer it, and they make money. It is really that simple. And it's not like, I don't want to downplay the moving parts that go into owning an HVAC space and really being profitable and stuff like that. That's not what I'm talking about. That's a whole different thing. And there are guys that are very profitable and there are guys that are not that profitable. But I do think in a general sense that they get to sell much easier than anybody else in the world.
I see. What do you think the future, say 20 years down the line, you think from your perspective, the training going to evolve into?
The training, I think it's VR. I think everything goes to some kind of immersive experience because I know guys right now, not in the HVAC industry. Well, I do know some guys working on some VR stuff in the HVAC industry, but I know a couple of companies in other industries that have already went to full VR for their training. So it's boom,
really?
You put the goggles on, and then you're standing in a home, you're learning how to cut insulation, you're learning how to, and it literally, look, I've put the glasses on and I've played around with it.
What class is it?
Oculus. You're
Oculus,
using,
yeah.
Oculus or something similar. I think they had one other one that worked with their system, but it's mostly Oculus type level of thing. And you put it on, and boom, you're in this immersive experience. You're in an actual house that really looks like you could literally go look out the window and see cars out there and stuff like that. And you're walking around, and it gives you a virtual knife, and it says, here, it does a demonstration, like, here's how you cut this insulation. And it's like, try it for yourself. And then you try it, and you learn exactly, like, the right size to cut it and everything. So I think that from a training perspective, that's where everything, like, I don't see why it wouldn't move to something like that.
Do you think that's something 20 years or
No,
5
I think that's
years?
5 years from now.
What do you think about 20 years?
I have no imagination capability of, like, if that's 5 years from now, I don't know what 20 years looks like. It's it's probably not even glasses. It's probably just something that right in the space you're in, it creates a virtual space there. You probably don't even need to have the thing on your face anymore.
Yeah. The reason I ask is how do we evolve our product, our company to the future, right? You want to build something. Ideally, you build something that is not perfect today, but with the evolve of technology every day, you'll get into a better position tomorrow. Then it just keep improving on its own. That's what I'm trying to do. Because one thing I was thinking, like in the, say, 20 years down the line, how do we make sure, right now we're just trying to provide a companion in the truck, people to do all the job. They can do a lot of assistant job for the technician. But what if in the 20 years down the line, you don't need to carry the water heater to the third floor? Now you have a robot can do that for you. That would be much easier, and you'd go there for easier job.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility. Back to the same place I was talking, they also have a LiDAR-enabled robot that they're rolling out at some point in time that's able to just go up, crawl the attic, and measure the whole entire attic up, boom, 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 and then come back out down, similar to what you're talking about, with a full proposal ready to go. So, like, there are people thinking that way with robots already.
But the hard part, I think, is like, how do you let the robot use the wrenches? How do you let the robot use all the meters we're having? That's a much harder job. Because if you look at the most advanced robot, like Optimus nowadays, you can barely even scoop a popcorn. I've seen that in LA.
Oh, I think from that standpoint, the trades are safe for a little bit. Like, you're not going to get a robot out there turning a wrench in any real way anytime soon. I think that for the time being, the trades are probably the safest space that there is. You're going to need humans involved at some level and a lot of this stuff. But to your point, I think it can get a lot less labor intensive pretty quickly with using the technology that we have and the AI technology in particular. So
one question I have for you, I've heard about this argument, which is something I'm also keep thinking every day on my product. In the trades, because people charge labor by the hour.
Yep.
Making technician efficient technically means lose money and means thinner margin for businesses, right? So making it more efficient is not a priority for a lot of business. Making it sell more is the priority. What do you think about this argument?
So let me just make sure I understand what you're saying. When you say, tell me what you mean by making it more efficient. What does that mean?
Let's say you were able to previously, when you diagnose an issue in, say, Starbucks, try to fix the fridge, it takes 2 hours. Now, AI is able to go there, take a photo with the conversation and figure it out in 5 minutes. Now, instead of charge 2 hours of diagnostics, now you charge for 20 minutes. You're losing 1 hour rate, let's say $100. So what do you think about this argument?
I think that if you have the technology and you're the guy coming there to fix it, you still charge the same amount that you would. I'm not gonna. There's an old saying that says, "You're paying me for the 30 years that it took me to learn how to do this, not the 10 minutes that it took to fix it." Like if you're the guy that if they had to call you, then they couldn't do it themselves. I mean, that's number one. It's that simple. So number two is if that technology made it easier on you, I don't know that you necessarily have to pass that along to the consumer, at least right away. I think as it becomes more competitive and everybody has the same AI that you do, then I think somebody at some point in time, there's always a swim towards the bottom. There's always a guy that wants to win by being the cheapest guy in the room. So there's going to be somebody that is going to drop their price drastically, and then you're going to have to figure out how to compete with that. I think that's what ends up happening, but I don't think that necessarily immediately you pass that along to the consumer. I know I will just say straight out, any gain that I'm having using ChatGPT or any of this AI, I use it to make myself more profitable, not necessarily to pass along to the people that I'm doing the work for, the training, whatever. Because I think that if you took the time to learn how to use that tool and make yourself more efficient, then you should benefit from that way more than anyone else.
Yeah, I'm assuming let's say you're trying to draft a PowerPoint.
Yeah.
It could take you a whole day. Now you go to ChatGPT, it give you the bullet points of every page. It take you 5 minutes.
Correct.
Now you can all of a sudden use most of the day doing more business outbound and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just have better use of your time. I mean, I think is what it boils down to. So for a company, I guess you just have to figure out if at some point in time, you get so good, the technology is you can't even justify it anymore, then I think you got to change your prices. Like if the world moves on to a model where you don't have to leave your office to fix, because there is blockchain, smart contracts, all that stuff. There's a use case for that where I saw actually, 5-7 years ago at this point now, where you could have an appliance that has a smart contract enabled where when certain parts of it breaks, it goes out to the internet, it does all that itself, it fixes it, and then it charges you for fixing it, and you never even did anything. Once the contract's complete, boom, you pay it, and your service is done, and you aren't even involved in it, but you still paid for it. So I think that the guy fixing it always has to make the most benefit from his services and his technology and, his knowledge base.
Yeah. I'm just sharing some of those roadblocks when I'm chatting with other businesses. People are coming back to me, but just want to verify a lot of those from the trainer's perspective.
When you rode around with everybody and you were showing them your product or talking to them about your product, did you get a good sense of the if people would be open to using it, or what did it seem like? What was the reception from it?
People love it in general, but I have to juggle between the business owner, right, the service manager, and the actual technician on the field. From the business owner's perspective, it's great. We log everything. At least I can make sure that I can increase our service quality if things are recorded. The technician perspective, all the things are prepared, all the notes are written in a better format, because when you are looking at technician, usually after they finish the job, they'll pull over somewhere not in front of the home. They'll still drive maybe 2 blocks away to make sure they're to write something.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They do it. I mean, my brother is a salesman for a big HVAC company. He calls me all the time, I'm sitting around the corner doing this proposal. So yeah, they're definitely doing that. Yeah, they're not, 1,000%.
Yeah, they're not trying to do that. So in that way, they can now do not need to worry about that part. Just go to the next job. Everything could still be summarized in a better format, because I usually see technicians are in the rush in the truck, try to use the dictation on the iOS or Android native one.
Oh yeah.
They would say I fixed this job by 2 p.m. period. I arrived at home 5 p.m. and the homeowner told me XYZ, comma XYZ, XYZ, and
absolutely.
then at the end the house owner are happy. Period. And think about it. When you give this to the homeowner, they cannot really understand what you actually did. While you using AI to record the whole conversation, we summarize by bullet points. It's much easier for people to understand. You have much better presentation on the work you've done. And that also give better customer service quality, so they're gonna come back to you later, right?
Yep.
So that's what we're trying to do. So I would say from overall perspective, people love it, but also I can see definitely always gonna see some roadblocks from different companies. Like for example, we shared before, right? It won't work that well for industrial because industrial's biggest pain point is none of those. Their biggest pain point is how do we get the PPE and pass through the security and go to a no signal area to make sure I can get the job done. And that part is really difficult. And for now, I don't have a good solution for that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always going to be some use case that's not great for what you're doing or some roadblock, but it sounds like you guys are on the right track, man.
Yeah.
We're running out of time here, so is there any where people can go and look at your product and see it, or do you have it up on the website or anything like that?
Yeah. People can
tell the audience.
Yeah, people can just go to noso.so, noso.so, to look up our website. And you can also search Y Combinator NOSO, NOSO. We have pretty good search index. If you type in NOSO, it should appear right away.
Perfect. Thank you, Winston, for coming out. And I look forward to seeing where your product goes. I know you and I are going to collaborate on a few things, so we'll keep the audience abreast of what's next with your product.
Yeah, thank you for having me here.
Are you still sizing systems by rule of thumb or selling jobs before knowing the load? We're happy to introduce the Permanent Load Reduction and Verified Performance Specialist Training, a 3-day immersive experience where HVAC pros get hands-on with real tools, real homes, and real diagnostics. Day 1, learn how to find and fix the load with building science-backed methods. Day 2, get certified as a MeasureQuick user and airflow diagnostic specialist. Day 3, bring it all together with advanced permanent load reduction strategies and verified system performance on a real home. This isn't just theory, it's permanent load reduction and verified performance, the kind that sticks. It's time to stop guessing and start proving. Sign up today at www.hvac2home performance on our training page. Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by. If you'd like to learn more about the podcast or HVAC 2-Home Performance and any of our services, be sure to check us out on our website at hvac2homeperformance.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at HVAC2HP and find us on Spotify and Apple. While you're at it, leave us a review. A big thanks to Santa Fe for supporting the show. The HVAC ADHD Vodcast is produced and edited by the team at Palm Tree Pod Co. Anthony Palmer is the executive producer. Bo Patton is our technical director. Nolan Gray is our audio engineer. And Caitlin Krings is the head of digital. The content for this episode is created by me. Hooday, go Bengals!